talking about Section 8. But anyway, our panelists up here are, sitting to my immediate left is our General Counsel for NH&RA, Ken Laurie, with Bingham McCutchen here in Washington, D.C. And Ken has a varied practice representing developers, lenders, bond underwriters, and has been actively engaged in all aspects of real estate development, both as counsel and as a developer himself over the years, and always gives great insight, brings great insight to these meetings, and gives great counsel to this organization. In the middle, Monica Sussman, who practices law with Nixon Peabody. And Monica has a background prior to her many years of private practice working with state agencies, working at HUD, and she really brings a deep insight in this field as well. And I don't think you could go anywhere in the housing business and not know who David Reznick is. But David is principal of and founder of the Reznick Group in Bethesda, Maryland, a accounting firm of, every time I say the number, I find out that it's gone up a few hundred since, but last I knew, roughly 1,400 accountants with offices all around the country, and we call David the John Madden of affordable housing for his great gift of gab in discussing these topics. So we're going to spend the next little while talking a little bit about the Washington scene and some of the policy issues here. And to start, we're going to turn to you, Ken, or Monica.
Whatever you like. I can do it.
Ken.
I can start off, and we're going to try and make this a conversation. And although we prefer, I think, to keep questions to the end so we can get through the material, but as between us, we're not going to lecture to you. We're going to kind of talk to you and talk among ourselves, and hopefully something worth. I'm sorry.
We were just talking among ourselves.
We're just talking among ourselves. Normally, people don't.
You're right.
Say that they don't hear me, but anyway, I'm sorry. There are a lot of things that are different in Washington now than just a few months ago. I don't need to tell you that. And some of the changes are clear and palpable, and others are not quite so clear yet. And we're going to see how they evolve, obviously. But there are dramatic changes. I think they're almost entirely positive for the affordable housing industry and program, and in fact, it may be the only game in town for a lot of people. This gentleman over here who said he started in affordable housing in 1991 because of the downturn. I think there are going to be a lot of people joining you, and those that are here and that understand the programs and the processes obviously will have an advantage. But the good news is that there are going to be new resources and a new approach and a new attitude in Washington and in the states, and a new cooperation, I think, between Washington and the states that is going to benefit everyone that is involved, most especially the tenants, who, of course, should be the beneficiaries of all this. And so I think, you know, this is a unique group with a unique perspective, and we're going to talk about what's happening in Washington and some of the programs. And I think that's important for all of us to know and for you to know, because it will have an impact upon your view of the marketplace and valuations of assets, and the choices that people make and the consequences that people have for doing selecting different kind of approaches with the housing that they're doing and building. So we're going to talk about a number of things up here today. We're going to do this kind of 50,000-foot view that I'm doing now, just preliminarily. Then we're going to focus on kind of what's happening at HUD. Monica's going to lead us through some of that and the specifics in that conversation. David is going to talk about the state of the market, you know, the equity financings and what's out there and what's available, what he's seeing. We're going to talk about the debt markets a little bit and the pluses and minuses, what's out there as well. And then I'm going to talk about the stimulus package and some of the things in there. Some of the things are fairly obvious on their surface, but as you dig a little bit deeper, you'll see that there are a lot of issues that arise as a result of things in the stimulus package that are going to have an impact on the ability to develop affordable housing and on the valuations that and the market studies that you're going to do. So we'll talk about what some of those options are, how different states and localities may approach those. I assume, based upon the schedule that I've looked at, that some of the states' representatives are going to talk to you about their views about some of those issues. We're going to try and tee up some of the issues, which I'm sure that they will talk about and how they're approaching them in their particular states and localities. So before I turn it over to Monica to talk about the HUD, the HUD issues, let's just talk about, again, at a high level, the different the branches of government here in Washington. I don't think the courts at this point are going to be that much involved, but the Congress and the administration, and what I'm seeing, and my colleagues will talk to you about the same in a little more specifics. You know, unfortunately. Fortunately, in my view, we have a terrific HUD secretary, someone I've known for an awful long time and have worked closely with Sean Donovan when he was at HUD and when he was at the Commissioner of New York Housing. He is a person that knows multifamily, loves multifamily, and I believe will pay attention to multifamily issues. He doesn't understand it just hypothetically. He understands it in detail. He understands the tax credit program. He understands the bond programs. He understands what states and localities can do that can be helpful and that can be harmful. And he understands what HUD can do that can be helpful and harmful. It's still a aircraft carrier we're dealing with here, and I don't think anybody should expect that it's going to turn on a dime. But I think, in my view, that you're going to see some dramatic changes as soon as they get some more staff over there approved. Although there have been some appointments that you're probably aware. But Sean is smart and he's dedicated, and perhaps most importantly, although those things are critical, for the first time that I can ever remember, he really has the ear of other people in Washington, in the administration, who matter. I can't imagine, nowhere in my career, the 100 years that Peter talks about, did I know a HUD secretary that could pick up the phone and get the Secretary of the Treasury on the phone almost whenever he wanted to. Sean can do that because of the situation that the country finds itself in. He is now an integral part of the team, the program. The housing issue is an integral part, and because Sean has such a strong background in multifamily, what could have been, with a different secretary, a kind of a total focus on the single-family program, I think you will turn into a much more balanced approach to housing, which will be healthy. After all, some of the problems with the single-family program evolved from the fact that everyone